the perfect program doesn't exist. And even if you have the perfect program, and even if your calories and your macros are perfect and spot on, how does that impact you when you're in a real world situation? Like when you're standing in line at the all-you-can-eat buffet and you've got your plate and you see all the food in front of you, what does knowing your macros and knowing your calories mean then? It means absolutely nothing. Hey, how is it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward. And in today's video, I want to discuss the power of being good enough and letting go of perfection. And this is a very powerful topic to discuss, and it's one that's it's hard to really wrap your head around it. It's something you have to do and experience versus just talk about. But before we can get to doing it and experiencing it, we first need to talk about it. So that's what I'm going to do in this video, is kind of shed some light on this topic, and hopefully you'll be able to get some takeaways that you can then go ahead and implement into your own daily routine to help maximize your progress and to truly realize what's important when it comes to reaching your fitness and fat loss goals, and not just reaching them, but having a system in place where you can sustain it and sustain it as a lifestyle and know that you're not going to go back to the ways that you were before, not go back to those old habits that caused you to get overweight and out of shape to begin with. This is something that I'm constantly dealing with. And what really brought this to light again was, one, I had a few private messages from some of the guys in our coaching program who are struggling and actually backtracking. You know, they'd started the program, were all motivated from the start, making some good progress, seeing some good changes, and now starting to slip back into their old habits again and really need some help to refocus their efforts. And another one that I've seen recently is, I was part of a group that I participate on and help out with, is the Dad Bod Transformation Group. There was a gentleman on that group over the past year, went through the whole coronavirus like we all have, and gained a lot of so-called COVID weight gain over the past year. And now he wants to get back on track, get back in shape again, lose the weight that he gained. And he was asking some dietary advice, and he had calculated out this so-called meal plan that he had gathered from doing research online and watching videos and listening to experts and blah, blah, blah. And he calculated out this perfect meal plan. And I actually wrote it out. I can relate to what he's going through here, but this is what he had listed out as his so-called ideal meal plan. 2,274 calories, 250 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbohydrates, and 30.7 grams of fat. So very precise, right down to the nitty-gritty calorie and the 0.7 grams of fat. And then he put that up on the group and was asking for some feedback, right? Asking people, what do you think of my so-called diet? Is this going to work? Is it too high, too low, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was in there giving their 2 cents worth. Like, some people were saying, hey, that's good. Some people were saying, no, that's no good. Some people saying it's too high, it's too low. Increase the protein, decrease the carbs, increase the fat, decrease the fat, whatever. Everyone's giving their 2 cents worth. Then a little while later, he went and reposted a revised diet. And his revised diet ended up with 2,354 calories, 211 grams of protein, 221 grams of carbohydrates, and 55.7 grams of fat. So, like, getting right down to the very nitty-gritty numbers here. Like, I mean, not just rounding it off, like most people do with a diet plan. Like, he was getting very specific here. And I just started to laugh because I've been there. I can relate to what he's going through. I mean, I can remember spending hours, with the pen, paper, and calculator, and then the calorie counter books, and trying to plan out the so-called perfect meal plan that was going to get me lean and ripped and jacked. And I was go through all the formulas, of my age, my height, my weight, my body fat percentage, and I want to calculate what's my ideal calorie intake, and then, okay, what's my activity level, and then this and that, and how much am I going to need for growth, or how much am I going to need to cut back for fat loss. And I'd be crunching all the numbers and trying to get it right down to the exact, precise, perfect formula. And I used to spend hours just going through this. I mean, calculating everything out and trying to get the perfect plan. And what I've come to realize is the perfect plan, first off, doesn't exist for a couple reasons. One, food companies are legally allowed to be over or under 20% on the label. So to put that in perspective, if you have a serving of something that is 100 calories, That may be 120 calories or that may be 80 calories and anywhere in between, and that's legally what's acceptable. Now, legally what's acceptable. How many companies are out there and probably outside the so-called legal boundaries? What I'm getting at here is food labels are not a precise science. It's just a ballpark estimate, a guess. It could be way off. I mean, who knows? It could be 50% off, and they may be getting away with it because there's no food police out there actually taking the food, calculating out the portions and the calories and the macros, and then comparing it to the labels and doing a university analysis of it to see, okay, is this actually matching what's on the label? Like, we've got bigger problems in the world these days, you know, with the whole coronavirus situation and everything else. The food police are not out there checking nutrition labels to see if it meets the calorie and macro intake. So even if you had the perfect program, the perfect macros, the perfect calories, and you were tracking it all, you could be way off because the food labels are probably wrong. Legally, they're allowed to be off by 20%. And I mean, they may be off by more in some cases. The perfect program doesn't exist. And even if you have the perfect program, and even if your calories and your macros are perfect and spot on, how does that impact you when you're in a real world situation? Like when you're standing in line at the all-you-can-eat buffet and you've got your plate and you see all the food in front of you, what does knowing your macros and knowing your calories mean then? It means absolutely nothing. Right? Like, it's not like you're going to measure and weigh or whatever. Or how about when you go to a family dinner or a barbecue or something like that, and you got friends and family saying, hey, eat this, eat that, you know, grandmother made this pumpkin pie, eat that. Here, have a drink and have this and have some snacks, and your calories and macros are gone out the window. So bottom line, the perfect program isn't going to help you. Like that's what you need to realize. You don't need perfection. You just need to be good enough, but good enough consistently. And the secret to all this is it's not the diet. Having the right pre-planned diet plan is not what's holding you back from success. Having the best workout program with all the calculated exercises, sets and reps and time under tension and the perfect split and all that, that's not what's holding you back. It's you that's holding you back. You need to change you, not the details in terms of the variables and stuff like that. It's you internally. And I'm going to give you an analogy to really make this point make sense. Just imagine if we have two people refusing a cigarette. Like if I were to offer a cigarette to one person and they say, no thanks, I'm a non-smoker. And then I offer a cigarette to somebody else and they say, I'm trying to quit, right? Both people are saying no, but who's committed? Who's going to be smoke-free in the long term? The person who says, no thanks, I'm a non-smoker, or the person who says, I'm trying to quit? The person who's trying to quit, they don't fully accept themselves as a non-smoker. They're still a smoker who's trying to quit. So their default setting, who they see themselves internally, they're still a smoker. They're a smoker who's trying to quit. Whereas someone who's a non-smoker, that's who they are. They are a non-smoker. Now, why does this even matter when it comes to diet and exercise? Because we see the same thing when it comes to fitness and fat loss. So many people out there are just like a smoker who's trying to quit. Like if you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to go on a diet, you're trying to follow another program, you're trying to do it, but you know that you're not there yet, and you've tried and you failed, and you've tried and you failed, and you're almost like thinking, well, what's the point of even trying again? I know I'm only going to fail. It's like everyone who's a smoker has probably tried to quit at some point or another, and they're probably pretty good at quitting, meaning they quit every hour or every other day or every week, and then they keep picking it back up again. If you're like that smoker who's always trying to quit but then picking it back up again, you're going on a diet, and then okay, a few days, few weeks go by, and then I'm going to quit and go back to my old habits. It's not the diet. It's you. It's you need to change your internal identity and how you see this. And it's not the numbers or the calories or the workout or the split or all this crap that so many people waste their time with. It goes deeper than that. It's an internal identity. It's an internal shift that has to happen first, and not just wanting the right numbers. Like that's something I see all the time. Everyone just says, well, if I only knew the right calories, or I only knew the right exercises, or I only knew the right macros, or I only knew if I should be keto or paleo, or if I should do vegan, or I should do whatever. If I only knew the right diet, then that would solve all my woes. And no, it's not that. It's just like a smoker saying, oh, if I only had the right crutch. Should I take the nicotine gum? Should I take the spray? Should I take the patch? Should I do hypnosis? Like, what's the best trick to help me quit smoking? Like, all the tricks out there aren't going to do jack shit. You have to change internally. It's you that has to change, not the tactics, not the tricks, not the whatever. It's you. And that's what you really need to wrap your head around when it comes to achieving a fitness and fat loss transformation, is you have to become the change. It's not the tactics, it's not the diet, it's not the strategies, it is you. And how do you get over this? Is one, you have to let go of the whole perfection approach. And this is something a lot of people struggle with. It's all or nothing. It's, I'm going to be all in 110%, or if I'm not 110%, then what's the point of even trying at all? It's that all or nothing. It's like a light switch. You're either on or you're off. There's no in between. And the reality is you have to master the in between. That's where success is. The success is in the in between. I mean, it's great when you are all in and you're motivated and you're gung-ho and everything is going great and you're following the workout program, you're following the diet. I mean, it's awesome when things are going great, but what do you do when life throws challenges your way? What do you do when the shit hits the fan? And whatever that could be. And I'll give you a prime example we can all relate to. You may have the perfect workout program, right? All the exercises, sets and reps and strategies planned out based on all the latest scientific research from a college study done on a half a dozen freshmen. You know what I mean? Right? You've got the perfect program, right? The magical hypertrophy training split. And you have your training program and you're going to the gym and you're following that and things are going great. And the next thing you know, we're in another coronavirus lockdown. So now the gym is closed. Now what do? That perfect training split that you had is just like a fart in the wind. It's gone out the window. And now how do you make it work? Or when it comes to your eating plan, like you're following the structured plan and everything else, and all of a sudden, you know, you've got travel plans. Now you're not home preparing your meals. You have to eat out while you're on the road, or you're visiting family and friends or something, whatever, right? Like something goes astray. Maybe you're going through some stressful times at work and working overtime. Maybe you have some family issues. Maybe there's a death in the family, or maybe there's, you know, sickness or illness or issues that require your attention when it comes to dealing with your family and taking care of others. Maybe it's financial stress. Whatever. I mean, who knows? Everybody's going to go through stress. Like trying to pretend that life is great all the time and then you're not going to run into challenges, that's not helping anybody. You have to accept the challenges. Know that the shit is going to hit the fan. Like, don't think, oh, what if it hits the fan? Know that it's going to hit the fan, right? You have to be prepared for it. Expect it to happen. Don't be surprised when it happens. Expect it to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And how are you going to deal with it when it happens? And this is where having this bigger picture comes into play. So instead of trying to have the perfect plan, oh, I got to I got to do this exact exercise and these exact reps and I got to do in this order on these days of the week and blah, blah, blah. Why don't we just have a plan where I'm going to exercise on a regular basis? You know, whether that's exercising at home, I'm doing push-ups and squats and sit-ups, or maybe it's going to the gym, or maybe I got a set of dumbbells that I can use at home, or a set of resistance bands. But every day I'm going to get some sort of exercise, right? I'm going to work up a sweat some way, somehow, some shape or form, whether it's at the gym or at home or whatever. One of our guys in the group, Paul, works out at the outdoor fitness parks in Alberta, Canada, in the middle of winter when it's like sub 20 degrees outside, you know, 20 below zero. He's outside, bundled up in his parka and his hat and his mitts and everything else, and he's working outside in the outdoor fitness park, making it work because they're in a coronavirus lockdown and the gyms are closed. So, like, how do you make it work? Paul is making it work. He's a prime example of someone who's actually doing this. But that's what I want you to think of, is like, instead of thinking about the perfect program, how do you be good enough? How do you be good enough, but good enough consistently? And same with the diet. A lot of people are stressed out. Oh, I need to know the exact calories. I need to know the exact macros. I need to know how many grams of protein and what's the ideal feeding window and how should I space out my meals and the timing and what's the best brand of protein powder and what's the best brand of vitamins and blah, blah, blah. Like, none of that stuff matters. It's good enough, but good enough consistently, right? That's what matters. So when I sit down to a meal, I have two main habits. One, I want to get a serving of protein. Now, what is that? It could be meat, chicken, fish, protein shake, whatever. I'm having a serving of some sort of protein, and I'm having a serving of vegetables. I mean, it could be a salad, it could be some steamed or stir-fried veggies. If I can't get veggies, then I'm going to have some fruit or some berries or something like that. If I can't get solid food protein or solid food veggies, then I'm going to supplement it with supplemental protein and supplemental veggies, like protein powders and greens powders. Like, be good enough, but good enough consistently, and be willing to be flexible in your approach, and realize that I don't have to hit the nail on the head every time. I just got to be good enough. Just think of a farmer planting a garden. Does he have to measure every drop of water that goes on his plants? Does he have to strategically time every minute of sunshine that those flowers get or that garden gets? No, it just has to be good enough and good enough consistently. He just has to make sure that there's enough water and that there's enough sunshine, and it's going to happen. Like, the exact numbers don't matter. Like, as long as there's enough water that the ground is not dried out, as long as there's enough sunshine that the plants are actually getting the nourishment from the sun, it's going to grow. He doesn't need to know the exact minutes of sunlight every day, because he has no control over that, right? It could be a cloudy day, could be overcast, could be a storm, could be whatever. Same when it comes to the water. I mean, yes, you can manually water the plants, but we could go through droughts or whatever. But as long as there's enough water and enough sunlight, the plants are going to grow. Same with you. As long as you're eating the right foods, as long as you're exercising, as long as you're creating a calorie deficit and you're doing good enough, but good enough consistently, you can make it work, even if it's not perfect. And you got to let go of that perfection mentality, because that perfection mentality is what's holding so many people back. They think that, again, if it's not perfect, then what's the point of doing it at all? And the reality is it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, let's just turn this whole table around, and instead of thinking like how to build lean muscle, how to burn body fat, imagine I was asking an overweight person, how do I become overweight? And I find the fattest person in McDonald's, and I say, you know what? Tell me how you became the fattest person. Like, how did you gain so much weight? I really want to know. And I go there with my pen and my paper and my calculator and my MyFitnessPal, and I'm trying to create the perfect program to get fat. And I sit down and I interview the fat person. And I say, okay, so what was your diet plan to get fat? And when did you eat, when you were sitting down at McDonald's, like, did you have the Big Mac, or did you have the cheeseburger, or did you have the fish fillet? Did you supersize your fries? Did you have was it a Coca-Cola? Was it a milkshake? Or did you not always eat McDonald's? Maybe you were eating Burger King half the time of the week. Like, what's the best diet? Should I eat the burger before the fries, or the fries before the burger? Should I have a Coke, or should I have a milkshake? Like, what's the secret to getting fat? There is no secret. It's just if you eat too darn much, you're going to get fat. You don't need to have the perfect plan. It's just going to happen. Now, just reverse it when it comes to fitness. Like, everyone wants, well, tell me the perfect plan to get fit. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to make sure that it's good enough, but good enough consistently. Just like when it comes to getting fat, if it's bad enough and bad enough consistently, you will get fat. Even if it's not the perfect weight gain plan, you will get fat. Like, a lot of people can't wrap their head around it. They think that there's this magic formula, or there's one right way to do it, and I have to be spot on and perfect every single time, or what's the point? I mean, it's just like that fat person. They could eat any type of junk, right? They could eat McDonald's one day, they could eat Burger King the next, they could eat KFC the next, or they could just sit down and eat cakes and cookies and crisps at home. As long as they're overeating and under-exercising, they're going to get fat. It doesn't matter how, which way, shape, form, or what foods they eat, or what strategy, or meal timing, or any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. In the same concept, it really doesn't matter when it comes to losing fat and building muscle. You just have to be good enough, but good enough consistently, and focus on the bigger picture of what's going on. Like, are you consuming enough protein to actually fuel and stimulate muscle growth, right? Like, to provide your body with the raw materials it needs for muscle growth. So, I mean, are you getting protein with each meal? If you are, great, boom, check. When it comes to vegetables, I mean, that's the stuff that's going to fill you up and nourish you on the cellular level. The vitamins, the nutrients, the fiber, the enzymes, the phytochemicals, and the nutrients, and all that stuff that your body needs to function properly. Are you getting enough veggies? Whether that comes from salads, or stir fries, or steamed vegetables, or whatever, whether it comes from greens powder, are you getting enough veggies? You don't need to overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough, but good enough consistently. Same with the exercise. Are you burning calories? Are you burning more calories than you consume to create a calorie deficit? Whether that's going to the gym, whether that's working out at home, whether that's doing body weight, whether that's doing machines or free weights or just going outside for a walk. Are you burning more calories than you are consuming? If you are, then you're going to create a calorie deficit. As long as you have all this stuff in place and you are doing it consistently, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, year in, year, like over the long term, you will get the results. And this is the big one. This next part is the big one that can make or break it. What do you do when you screw up? Like a lot of times I see people, they'll have their program, even if they understand the good enough and good enough consistently and all that stuff, they'll probably follow a plan. And let's just say you start your diet on Monday, all right, and you go through it, right? You know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday night rolls around, we're going out to dinner, or you know what, someone ordered a pizza and this and that. Friday night, diet blown. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, I was on such a good roll. I was eating clean and exercising Monday to Thursday. Now Friday rolls around and I cheated on the diet. Oh, screw it. What's the point even doing this anymore? So I'll start again on Monday. So then you're going to eat like crap on Friday. You're going to eat like crap on Saturday. You're going to eat like crap on Sunday. And then so-called start again on Monday. Like that's a common mistake a lot of people make. Or sometimes people don't even start again on Monday. Like as soon as they get derailed, they're almost like, oh, I knew I wasn't going to stick to this. I knew it was going to be too hard. What's the point? Screw it. I give in. I quit. And then you go back to your old habits again. And this is something I see over and over again is people, they start off with the best of intentions, but then as soon as they hit a little bump in the road, as soon as something derails their progress and just gets them a little bit off track, instead of getting back on track right away, they just say, screw it, throw in the towel, and they quit. I mean, it's almost like, reminds me of the analogy, the martial arts expert and his student, and the student was looking at his sensei, and he says, Sensei, he says, when you're sparring, he says, you never ever lose your balance. He says, like, how can you maintain perfect balance? And he says, you don't understand. He says, I'm always losing my balance. He says, but my secret is in how fast I can regain it. And that applies in so many areas. Like another thing, like I'm an amateur race car enthusiast, right? I mean, I do like rally racing and autocross and stuff like that. Race car drivers are making mistakes all the time. All the time. Like they're miscalculating the corners and miscalculating the speed and the braking and all that. They're always making little mistakes, but they're correcting it all the time. Correcting before those little mistakes turn into big mistakes. So before they crash and burn, they're correcting. They're always aware of it. So as soon as things, the car starts to slide a little bit, they'll quickly, adjust and correct and stay on track. Adjust, correct, stay on track. And because they're able to do that so quickly, the little mistakes that would normally derail an amateur driver and have them sending off the track and, crash and burn, a professional driver can handle it because they can correct and continue and stay on track. And the same applies with your fitness and nutrition. When you get off track, and it's inevitable you're going to get off track. I get off track all the time, right? I don't pretend not to. I get off track, but I know how to correct and continue and stay on track so that I'm able to get the results I want. And once you have that skill in place, that's when this really goes to the next level, because now instead of getting derailed and then quitting, you get derailed and then you correct, continue, get back on track, and you keep moving forward. And to the outside eyes, like someone who's not aware of what's going on, they might not even know that you made a mistake to begin with, because they just see the progress. They just see that you're moving in the right direction. They didn't see the little bump along the way. And this is what you really need to grasp your head around is good enough consistently, and let go of the perfection. Realize that you're going to screw up, and it's not a problem if you screw up. Everybody screws up. It's how fast can you get back on track and keep moving forward. Again, I hope that this whole message, this video is like resonating with you at some level. And if it is, like, let me know, right? Post it down in the comments below, let me know. Because this is the big thing. Like, if you can grasp what I'm sharing here in this video, then your success is inevitable. It really is. It's inevitable. And if you don't grasp what I'm sharing in this video, then your failure is inevitable. Like, that's the power here. This right here is the secret that's going to make or break your success. Right here is grasping what I'm talking about here. And I hope for those of you watching this that you are grasping this and it is resonating, and you realize, as long as I'm good enough and good enough consistently, making small baby steps in the right direction, that 1% improvement day after day, and if I screw up and get off track, who cares? Just correct and continue and get back on track. Forgive yourself, get back on track, and continue making those little bits of progress day after day. As long as you're making more progress than you are not, like you have more good days than bad, you will get there. I mean, it's probably going to take longer than you expected. It's probably going to be more challenging and all that. And there's going to be things that you didn't expect to occur along the way, right? It's not smooth sailing. We all have this vision, hey, I'm going to follow a perfect program and I'm going to get ripped and everything's going to be great. You don't have the foreseen vision to know that stuff is going to go wrong. Like, prime example, this whole coronavirus thing. Nobody's seen this coming a couple of years ago. The challenge was just getting to the gym, not whether or not the gym was open. Like, this brought on a whole new challenge that the whole world didn't see. And then guess what? There's going to be other challenges that we haven't seen or we can't see right now. And it's just inevitable. It's going to happen. So if you can know and expect and anticipate those challenges and still make the best of it regardless, then you will get the results you want. And that's the whole purpose of this message. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully this was helpful. And again, share your comments and feedback down below. Let me know if this resonated with you. And I'll talk to you soon in a future video. Take care. Over and out.